Scarlett Pomers was enjoying success as one of the stars of the sitcom Reba. But behind the scenes, she was suffering, and I mean suffering, from anorexia. 17-year-old Scarlett Pomers stars as Reba McEntire's daughter on the hit WB show Reba. Scarlett made headlines just months ago after she admitted to having anorexia and checked herself into a treatment facility. I want to thank you for being here and for being brave and for sharing your story. Everybody, please welcome Scarlett. Alrighty, Scarlett, so when did your eating disorder start?
Basically last year around Christmas time, I gained a little bit of weight, and basically I just wanted to, get back to my normal weight that I was, and
so right now that's just like everybody. I mean, I gained almost 15 pounds over the Christmas holidays. I'm sure a lot of people have too. So
yeah,
that's a common thing. But for you,
yeah, it obviously started out really innocent, and I think that's usually how it happens with most girls. They go on a diet, or they lose a little weight maybe when they're sick, and they decide to take it too far, which is what happens with me. And in a lot of aspects, I was feeling out of control in my life. And when you start to get attention and compliments on being thin or thinner or just prettier or something, you kind of tend to run with that. And I think I was getting a satisfaction.
You started getting people saying, wow, Scarlett, you look great. You look so fabulous. You're losing weight. That's interesting that you say that, because that's something that angers me in Hollywood, because there are stars that you've seen, that we've all seen in the magazines, and they're in the magazines, and I wouldn't call them plump or anything. They're just girls with curves and normal figures.
They look like women.
Like women.
Yeah.
And then they lose weight. And sometimes it's in a matter of weeks or in a matter of months, and all of a sudden, we talk about them for maybe 2 weeks. Oh my God, scarily thin. Then the next week, doesn't she look fabulous in that Dolce & Gabbana dress?
Yeah.
And then it becomes more and more, and then they become fashion icons because they're hangers.
Yeah.
But before they weren't hot. So that angers me really much. So I understand you're saying you felt it. People were saying, oh, you're so beautiful. Look what's happening. You're losing weight.
Yeah, and it really is upsetting, like what you were saying. I think our society and the media puts a lot of emphasis on if you're thin, you'll be happy, your life will be perfect, you'll feel better about everything in general. And I can tell you from experience that obviously isn't the case. So
when did you know that you had a problem?
I really didn't think I did at first. I was definitely in denial about it. I didn't think, oh, I don't have anorexia. Maybe I'm a little too thin right now or something. But it was hard because it kind of progressively got worse and worse over time. And my mom took me to a dietitian initially when she thought, okay, this is getting a little strange. And it's kind of upsetting to think about that now, because I wonder why the dietitian didn't take my mom aside and say, you need to put her into treatment right away. Because
were you obviously scarily thin? Were you very thin? Because I saw a picture of you from September 2005, and your face looks beautiful, but then your arm was like almost like a bone with skin on it. It was very, very little. Or did you look like that when you went to the doctor?
No, I definitely was not that underweight, but I was very underweight, especially for my height. And it was hard because I'm just a petite person, and I'm pretty short and everything. So it's hard to gauge. I mean, everybody's different with their physique, but I was definitely carrying out anorexic behaviors with food. And
which is what?
Well, I try not to be too specific when I talk about it, because I know a lot of girls, I speak from experience that I would read things about people who had anorexia and stuff like that and what they did and take tips from it.
You would take tips from their disease.
From their disease,
like Christina Ricci. Christina Ricci learned how to be anorexic by looking at a movie that Tracy Gold did about being anorexic.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, great, I'm learning it, I'm going to do that.
I can do that, yeah.
Yeah.
And
that's actually, I didn't have hesitation about doing this show, but I wanted to be very careful, because I know that there are some girls looking at the TV right now and are taking notes. Like, okay,
Definitely.
What can I do? What can I do?
Definitely.
So I want to get the information, but still be careful. But I think it's important, to
Yeah, I mean, it is a really tough line because I know, especially for me, when I was really at my worst and at my lowest weight, I did everything I could, basically. I was looking up, you know, tricks and diet tips and you know, what's the most low calorie, what's the most low everything.
And what was your state of mind during the depths of your anorexia, during that picture that I saw?
That was, yeah, that was definitely
then.
the worst time. At that point, it really became what I consider the worst form of anorexia, which is where it gets to a point where it's literally all you think about. You can't connect with anything else. It's constantly on your mind all the time. I mean, you can be talking to somebody, but at the same time, it's still in the back.
Or not eating food,
or no food, or what are they eating, or what do I look like? What do they look like?
Did you ever think you were going to die?
It crossed my mind, definitely, but I think because I got so sick so fast that, I mean, a lot of people that I've met in treatment and stuff like that, they've been going through this for years. I mean, 20, you know, 30, 40 years. And I think...
What do you mean when you say you got sick fast? What do you mean by you got sick fast?
You know, I reached, like, my lowest weight and stuff within a matter of months. So it was...
and I know you also don't want to discuss what that weight, that number is. Explain why you don't want to discuss that.
For the same reason I don't want to really be too explicit about my behaviors with food and exercise, because I think a big part of anorexia is about guilt, about not eating, about what you're doing to yourself. And also, I know a lot of girls that struggle with, well, I'm not sick enough to get treatment, or, oh, this is just nothing, you know.
Do you fear that a girl would hear your number today or hear what your lowest number was in a magazine and say, oh, wow, she was suffering from anorexia and that's her number, but I need to hit that number too?
To get treatment, yeah, and that's not the case. I mean, if you feel, I think if a girl...
Do you think it's even related to just treatment, or just like, I just need to get to that number? That's the number that I need to get to. Because
yeah, definitely.
Scarlett's on TV, she's a big star, she's on a hit show, and she weighed that low number, so I want to weigh that.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I see too. All right, well, I want to thank you for sharing, and we got some more to talk about, because I know anorexia has a lot to do with control. It has a lot to do with control, so we're going to talk about that when we come back. We'll be right back. Eating disorders are on the rise more than ever, and today we're talking about their dangerous effects on young women in Hollywood and all across the country. I'm joined by Scarlett Pomers from the hit television show Reba, who is recovering from anorexia and now wants to encourage other young women struggling with an eating disorder to get help. And I just want to say before we start talking, if you're watching right now and you are struggling with anorexia or bulimia or any type of eating disorder, I strongly urge you to get help, That is the most powerful and controlling thing. I know eating disorders we talk about, which we're going to talk about in a second, the eating disorders are about control, but the ultimate control is to get yourself back, to be in control of your life and to get yourself back. So, you just got out of recovery, Scarlett, right? How long were you in recovery for?
I believe I went into an intensive outpatient program for about a month, and then the problem was when I entered that treatment, I was not ready to give up my eating disorder. My mom actually, my family forced me to go, and so I was very...
Like an intervention?
Definitely,
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And while I was there, I was just kind of spinning my wheels, you know, telling, oh, I don't have a problem, I can get rid of this whenever I want to, but...
And you're an actress, so you know how to put that face on.
Yeah, so...
Were you angry at your mom and the people for sending you there?
Yeah, I definitely was. But I think, you know, in the back of my mind, I always kind of knew it was the right thing to do, and that somehow it just didn't seem like something that would go on forever.
Were you embarrassed to be there, being someone famous? And seeing girls recognizing you? Because I might be a little Embarrassed?
I was a little embarrassed, and I was also worried kind of that it would come out in the press. I was afraid. I was also afraid for the other girls, too, like if the press wanted to take pictures or something, or found the places where I was being treated, that the other girls would feel ashamed or embarrassed or afraid of having their picture taken, too. So we had to go through a lot of confidentiality and stuff like that. But
I think it's a great example because you're famous. People know who you are. You're on a television show, and you're brave enough and strong enough to go back and to go into this treatment facility and not think about being embarrassed. You know, not everybody's on television, but everybody does have people that are around them and it can still be embarrassed. You know, so it's good to say if Scarlett can go and do this and be vulnerable in front of, you know, a lot of people, that, you know, they could do it too.
Yeah, and that's really a big step for me, especially to share it with everybody, because I've always kind of been somebody who kind of keeps it all inside, and which is, I think, a big reason why I turned to anorexia rather than taking out, you know, frustrated emotions or angry emotions on other people. I would take it out on myself.
On yourself. Well, you have no idea how many people you've helped. You've helped a lot of people, you know, and I want to show you something.
Hi, Scarlett. I'm Amy. I just wanted to let you know I've been such a big fan of yours since I saw you on Reba. I've been struggling with an eating disorder for 5 years, and when I saw your message to your fans about there being no shame in being ill and seeking treatment, it was a very powerful message. I felt very touched. My life was going downhill. I thought I was out of the woods, and suddenly I'm retreating back into them, and I think that, you know, it was a saving grace, and it pulled me out, and I think I'm much better for that message now. We know that there are other people struggling with this, but I did feel very alone, and it was nice to know that someone else was okay with coming out with this. A lot of people can be good actresses, but I think it takes a great person to be a role model. Thank you so much.
Well, she's here to thank you in person. She's here to thank you in person. Come on out, Amy. Amy, have a seat.
Wow, this is so amazing.
Isn't that amazing? So how does this feel to you, Scarlett, seeing that you have inspired her and probably saved her life?
It's incredible. I mean, you know, a couple of months ago, I didn't think that I could do it, and now to be sitting here and feeling happier and stronger than ever, and then knowing that I can help other people, it's really amazing.
Amy, how does it feel to sit here next to Scarlett and you know, her be she's your inspiration to get healthy?
It feels incredible. I mean, it really does. I mean, I was really going downhill, and now, you know, I feel like I'm ready for a big change. And, you know, you helped me so much, and I'm just ready to get my life back on track.
Scarlett, something that you said to my producers, which was really powerful and interesting to me, you said to your mom that you don't know if you would make a difference in life or in death. What does that mean?
You know, I always wanted to make an impact on the world in some way, and I really always wanted to inspire people. Like, that's always been my main goal in life, was to inspire people to be the best that they could be and what makes them the happiest. And I said to my mom, I always wondered if I was going to be somebody who would have an impact on people in death or after I had kind of been around, or in life. And I said, now I know that I can make an impact by living.
By living, yeah. And saving lives, not just your own. Scarlett, tell me about the charity that you are starting.
It's a nonprofit organization to help girls who can't afford treatment, which is really a huge issue in this field of medicine. I've been through several programs where girls are begging to stay, and they know that if they leave or they're basically kicked out by their insurance companies, they'll go right back to their eating disorders. And it's one of the most upsetting things I've ever seen. I mean, so many girls have been struggling for years and years, and you know, it took them that long to get to where they were in the illness.
And the treatment facilities are really expensive. I heard one was $1,200 a day.
$1,200 a day.
Can you imagine a treatment facility, $1,200 a day?
Yeah, and there's girls there that, you know, have been there for almost up to, you know, a year in length, and their parents are going bankrupt trying to pay for their treatment. So I really just want to help them out.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And Scarlett, thank you. Thank you, because you're just one girl sitting here, but do you know how many people you're inspiring now that you're here? It's like a chain. It's like paying it forward.
I hope so.
It is. We'll be right back.